Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen Williams, founder and president of the creditrepairshop.com. And in today's video, we're going to talk about what happens if you don't show up to court. I get this question a lot. I just got one yesterday, but a lot of people post this in their comments, and they're like, I got either some places call it a citation, depending on the state that you live in, or court summons. What will happen if you don't show up to your court summons or court citation for a debt that you owe from a debt collector or an original creditor? Well, the first thing is that you're giving up your rights. You're giving up fully all of your rights, depending on your state, though. So I won't say 100% for every state. I'm going to go off of the example for our state of Wisconsin. But you'll be giving up your rights, and they will end up getting a default judgment. When they get that default judgment, it takes it into a whole nother level of having to try to fight this. Now, in my state, you get 6 months to reopen. The thing is that it has to qualify to be reopened. You can't just say, well, the default judgment should not have been given. You have to give some real reasons to be able to get that reopened, and then they have to grant to get it reopened. So if you don't show up to court, you give up your rights to do a validation. You give up your rights to be able to contest it in any fashion that you believe. At least if you showed up, you would be able to say something, or just to see what they have, to see if you have any type of way that you could either get a delay, or you can see that there might be a technicality. Anything, you would have all of that information available to you, and you would be able to at least know if there's some type of potential way that you could fight it. But if you don't show up to court, nothing's going to happen. Now, in some states, you can get what's called an arrest warrant for you. Now, it's not like a regular warrant. It's going to be where you have a warrant for your arrest to have you come into court and answer to the debt. So it wouldn't be like they would keep you in jail over it, because that's technically against the law. But they can arrest you and have you come in, and then they will put you in front of a judge, and they would say, we want you to answer to this debt that this debt collector has been trying to collect from you. Not all states, not all debt collectors go that far. It is an extreme. But if you go to my website, thecreditrepairshop.com, type in arrested over debt, you will see a video from a news source, not fake news or anyone, where it showed a person in Minnesota that was actually, she was parked at a park eating lunch, and then a cop came behind her, ran her plates. She ended up getting arrested over a debt from a debt collector that had put a warrant for her arrest. So it can happen. Now, the next step is, if you allow that default judgment to go through, the next thing that's going to happen is it's going to allow them to put it on your public records. Having that placed on your public records is going to pull your credit score way down. It's going to make it a lot harder to repair your credit, because you've actually given, it's like 2 steps. The first one is if the debt collector places it on your credit reports as an open account, as a collection account, you're letting them take it a step higher by having it placed as a judgment on your credit reports. So in a way, it's like you're getting penalized 2 times, simply because you didn't show up to court and try to figure out a way that you can solve that problem. Then the next thing is, it's going to make it easy for them to get a garnishment order, because all they're going to have to do is go back into court with the default judgment, and then the judge, 9 times out of 10, they're going to give an order for the judgment on the garnishment. And now you will get notified to come into court if they're trying to get a garnishment order against you. You'll get in most states. Some states don't actually allow you to come into court. Once they get to judgment, they proceed straight to garnishment, and they're granted a garnishment. So you have to look up the laws in your state. But in my state, they have you, first they would get the judgment. Next, they would go to court and allow you to come into court to argue against the garnishment order. But it's already set up against you, because when you show up in court and they have a default judgment, you're not going to be able to argue the actual debt that was in the default judgment. You're going to really just be in the situation of arguing if they should be able to get the garnishment order, but it's a losing cause in most cases, because the garnishment order is going to be based off of what they got in the judgment. So I hope that kind of covers and tells you what's going to happen if you don't show up to court. Now let's get into why people don't show up in court. There's a lot of, when I was writing my notes, I was like, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, but let me talk about why people don't show up to court. That seemed like it gets kind of smoothed over when people make videos about stuff. People don't show up to court because they have fear. They have fear of the unknown. I'm going to tell you my story, and then it'll help you, and it'll also enlighten you on why you should not fear anything. You should always face your fears. What happened to me in the 1990s, when I was in the United States Army, I was 18 years old. I got a credit card and I'm not going to mention the company because they'll flag the video, but I got a credit card from a national company that was always giving people credit cards. I was in the United States Army, and probably the whole amount that I charged on that card was like $100 and something, $150 at the most. I was 18 years old. I was in the U.S. Army at that time. I was only making, and this is true story, like $650 for the whole month. I was living in the barracks, so you know that I didn't have any rent or anything. But I had got a credit card, and I didn't pay it. Truth be told, I did not pay it. It went bad. I forgot about it for years. All of a sudden, years later, credit card popped back up, and they came after me for $4,500. $4,500. I was looking at that. Now, I was not going to show up to court, but I think what happened to me was like the fear of not going to court and the fear of having someone say I owe $4,500 that I did not owe. That fear was higher than just to not show up to court. Because I was like, I don't want to have $4,500 out there. I don't remember anyone giving me $4,500. When I got into court, I had learned that it was from the credit card company from when I was in the military. And they had ballooned up the interest and everything to $4,500. This is what these debt collectors were doing. There are a whole bunch of things that I learned in that is the stuff that I give to you in these videos, because when I got that debt, let me just tell you what happened. When I got it, I actually, in court, the judge asked me, did I know about the debt? I said, I really don't know about this $4,500. I knew about the credit card, but I didn't know about the balance. That right there is where I learned that you could challenge every piece of what they're putting on the table. So I said, I do not know about this balance. So what they ended up making them do in the lawyer was not prepared, because they had a junior lawyer in there. They asked for a continuance and where we would come back to court. When they came back to court, it was the main attorney for the whole law firm, big debt collection attorney. He showed up. He had a stack of all of these credit card accounts that they purchased, and they were all blacked out, and they just showed my name and the credit card right there on that line. So obviously they had bought these for pennies on the dollar. And I said, well, I just don't remember this amount. I just knew that I did not have that amount of credit on the credit card. And then I think what happened when I run this back through my mind, it seemed like a lot of things come to me that was unsaid. Was that number one is that debt collector knew that they had broken the law by the amount of interest that they had charged on there, that they were breaking the law. But also what happened is that they were breaking the law because it was past statute of limitations and I didn't even know it. They were coming after me for that debt. I think it was like 2000, somewhere around 2000. It might have been even before that. I got to look back up. But they were coming after me for that debt at that time, and it was past statute of limitations for all contract law. And if from where the debt had been initiated, which was the state of Texas, because that's where I was at in the military, a lot of the things that they were even trying to do would not even be legal if I would have tried to say that where I was at when that debt was initiated, that this whole thing that they were trying to do was illegal. But let's just put it to where I was at in Wisconsin at that time, where I live now. They came. It was still past the statute of limitations for contract law. It was over the interest that they were charging was not legal. The amount that they had built that up was not legal. But what ended up happening is I said, I went, asked the judge, I would want to talk to him and see what we could figure out. And when I got in that room, and this is the big attorney that owns the whole law firm, I said that I didn't have that amount, period, and I'm not going to pay that amount, but I want to pay on this because I owe it to you. That's just the way I was in that mindset at that time. That was after my wife and I had went through our debt problems from 94 to 99. We had got everything paid off and we were just living this debt-free life. And I didn't want to have this debt hanging over my head. And so what I ended up negotiating was $500 to just have it gone. It wasn't placed on my credit, everything, no judgment, nothing. But by me overcoming my fears and showing up to court, something big happened out of that. The credit repair shop happened out of that. That same technique I've used because I overcame my fear and showed up and looked at everything. When a way to conquer your fears is just to say, I know that there's things that are unknown, but let me just go into that fear and see and learn what is unknown. Because understand this, just because you don't show up doesn't mean that everything that you're fearing won't happen. But if you show up, a lot of the things that you feared were not scary, and a lot of things that you might have feared may not even happen, and you'll know that they're not going to happen. And also a lot of things that you may have feared may not be able to even take effect in your particular situation. So from learning what I learned just in that, I've been able to help people erase millions of dollars worth of debt just by using that technique right there. Because what we do when we go into court is we do a full validate. We request a full validation. When you do a full validation on a debt collection, especially one that has been purchased by a debt collector, that's like it's like you flipped the whole game on them, because it backs them into a corner of having to prove. They don't want to have to prove anything. They just want to keep you unbalanced and keep you emotional and keep you not wanting to go to court. Keep you scared. Keep you scared about them calling your job or taking your money. All of these things to keep you off balance, when sending a simple validation letter, also answering the questions in the summons or the citation, will put them off balance because they're not used to people doing that. We've seen where when you just do that, they end up just saying, we want to dismiss the case. So show up to court, conquer your fears. Don't be afraid of anything. just do it. Let's just do it, all of us, for everything. If someone calls your phone, answer your phone, because that's, it could be a debt collector. You want to answer your phone, you want to gather information. If you have to go to court, gather information, ask for more time, and then look at all of the information, and then look at the ways that you can go about resolving the matter that's right in front of you. Remember, when in my videos where I showed you is to put what you're facing, and on the other side put how it's going to feel when you get all of that you fear of facing done and over with. So if you got collections, you got court summons, all this stuff, write it down on the left column. On the right column, write down how you will feel when they're all gone. And then what you do is you just get the information and you put together strategies to accomplish it. And you don't have to know the outcome. Let the outcome be what it's going to be. I didn't know what this outcome was going to be. Just think, if you were going to court and a lawyer said you owed $4,500, most people, number one, wouldn't show up to court. But even if you showed up to court, probably logically in your mind, you might be thinking that you're going to come out of court having to pay that $4,500. I showed up and got out of it by paying $500. But if I would have knew the law, the things that I'm telling you about right now, I would have paid zero. I could have actually flipped it around and sued them for what they were doing. But I just didn't know that at that time. So I'm telling you, I'm giving you the knowledge. So I'm going to end the video here. Make sure, if you need help, post your comments below. Please like the videos. I really appreciate it. Tell me your stories. Tell me what you're going through. Tell me how you're feeling. Put that on there so I can give you answers, so I can give you support. Place those comments on here. Let other people give you support. I may not have the answer. Someone else may have the answer. Put it into the universe by posting the comments below, and the answers and the solutions will come to you. They will seek you out and give it to you. The solutions are all over. You just have to ask for it, and it'll come to you. So visit my website, thecreditrepairshop.com. If you need help or anything, if you need to know what's on your credit reports and scores, if you're going to go to court, if you have a court summons or a citation, you need to know the information that's on your credit reports by what that debt collector placed on there and from what the original creditor placed on there, because that could blow up the whole court summons right from the beginning. So go to my website, www.your3scores.com. The link is below this video. Get your credit reports and look at what it says on there if you have a court summons or a citation, because the way that they may list it, they may have lied when they put together that summons or citation. Make sure to share share this with your friends and family. They may be having problems and they may not be telling you about it. Comment, and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already subscribed to my channel. Well, thank you for your time. This is Stephen Williams, founder and president of thecreditrepairshop.com. I want you to have a great day.